The movie opens with the scene of a man having a serious nightmare. He's rolling all over the floor in his sleep, and you can immediately tell that he's a very troubled man. This man, who happens to be our protagonist, is Hong, an ex-convict, and within the time he was in jail, he met a man who changed his life forever. In a flashback scene, we see Hong getting picked on by some of the other inmates while in the hard, but just when he's about to get his butt kicked, another inmate named Tiano steps in and casually wipes the floor with the troublemakers. Tiano happened to be his cellmate while in jail, and the old fighter certainly left his mark on young Mr. Hong. Fast forward a few years, and Hong is finally out of prison. He relocates to a city known as St. Jude, and as soon as he arrives, it's pretty clear that the place is run by drugs and crime. Hong goes to check out an apartment, and on his way out, he is accosted by a gangster named Theo and his men who are from a gang, known as the Sixth Street Gang. Theo says a lot of trash to Hong, and the dangerously cold protagonist instantly teaches them a lesson. He single-handedly beats the shit out of the gangsters, and he does it all right in front of Rosanna, his landlord's granddaughter. Days pass, and Hong has finally moved into the place, but the nightmares keep haunting him, and this is when we learn that he still carries the guilt for the death of a woman he killed in a robbery many years ago. Meanwhile, word gets out that Theo got his ass beat and his money taken by the new guy in town, which lands him in trouble with his boss, Dash. Dash is furious at Theo and pretty much kicks him out of the gang for failing to deliver. We're also introduced to a rival gang, the Outsiders, led by a man named Antoine. These guys are also aware of the new martial artist making life difficult for the Sixth Street Gang, so Antoine considers recruiting Hong. Unfortunately, this idea quickly stops to make sense when Hong literally becomes a vigilante in St. Jude. One day, he attacks Dash's men at their warehouse and takes their drug money, which really shakes things up. At this point, the Sixth Street Kings accuse the Outsiders of robbing them and going against their agreement. Antoine confronts Dash, and this is where we're introduced to the real kingpin in St. Jude, Mr. V. The old man in a hat makes it clear to the two gang leaders that he will not tolerate any more incompetency on their part because they're already coming short on their payments. After the meeting, the two gangs return to their safes to get out Mr. V's money, but all they find are sushi wraps. With things getting out of control, the two gangs go over to Hong's apartment, determined to get their money out of him. But the guy once again takes out most of them, but he doesn't do it alone since Theo and his guys help him out as well. The fight is broken up when the police arrive, and Hong doesn't even protest when he's arrested. In the holding cell, a criminal named Lord, who probably heard about the new ninja in town, decides to have a go with Hong. The protagonist has a hard time in this brawl and is saved when the officer releases him. He's visited by Mr. V, who asks for his money, and after telling the man where he hid the stash in the warehouse, he's given an assignment to go after a man named Beach. Back home, Rosanna visits Hong to inform him that her grandfather wants him out because of the trouble he's causing, but he knows that she doesn't want him to leave. Sure, she kinda likes him already, but she still warns him to be careful who he hits in St. Jude. Regardless, Hong goes after Beach in his house and runs the guy out of town. Now, Mr. V is so impressed that he decides to make Hong one of his men full-time. Antoine and Dash are invited to the usual meeting spot, and a cop shows them in, Sergeant Howie, one of the dirty cops on Mr. V's payroll. Antoine and Dash complain about having no protection from people like Hong, but Mr. V explains that he only protects them from arrests and nothing more. On top of that, he informs them that they'll be working with Hong and splitting their profits 3 ways with him henceforth. Dash is particularly furious when he hears this. Meanwhile, Hong continues to help clean up his neighborhood hood, and Rosanna helps him, all while trying to make her grandfather warm up to Hong. However, the old man finds it hard to trust his new tenant because he knows nothing about him. Elsewhere, Mr. V meets up with Lord, leader of the Devil Dogs, who is concerned that the ninja would encroach into his territory, but Mr. V assures him that St. Jude is under control. A few days later, while Rosanna is over again Hong's place, Dash attacks the place with a gun, but the ninja takes him out with ease, thanks to the lessons he got from Tiano in prison. Hong is put in charge of operations in St. Jude by Mr. V and changes a few rules. He bans use of guns to Dash's disapproval, but then Hong also moves their transactions locations closer to the border. which is very close to Devil Dog's territory. At first, Mr. V doesn't see anything wrong with Hong's tactics until he is robbed. He calls Sergeant Feldman, another dirty cop working for him, but Hong has his phone. When he can't reach Feldman, he tracks down Howie in a brothel and beats the shit out of him, demanding to know where his partner is. Just then, Mr. V receives a call that changes everything he feels about Hong because he learns that his newest ally was the one who betrayed him. The next day, Hong is lured into a trap by Howie and the other cops where Mr. V reveals that he knows Beach isn't dead. The dirty cops kill Beach and then beat Hong till he passes out again. They put him in a coffin and call Mr. V to give him an update. But when the Kingpin learns that they didn't shoot Hong, he rushes over to finish the job himself. Unfortunately, after shooting the wooden box for good measure, they all find out that Hong had already swapped places with an unconscious cop, who's now dead. With Hong on the loose, Mr. V is afraid that the guy would come back for revenge. So, to protect himself, he makes a deal with Lord and the Devil Dogs gang so they take over St. Jude, and they do so in a brutal fashion. Meanwhile, in a flashback, while Hong is beating himself up for killing that woman, Tiano reveals that he is also haunted by the fact that he killed his own son. Even though he never forgave himself for it, he still believes that they can always make things right by doing good. And that was the day he told Hong to go and save St. Jude when he gets out. Still on his path to recovery, Hong accidentally calls the landlord Tiano during one of his nightmares. And the next day, the old man reveals that he knew Tiano. Apparently, Tiano was the only one who ever dared to stand up to the gangs before Hong, and in seeing that and hearing this, makes the protagonist realize that he has a greater purpose in St. Jude. Hong goes to see Antoine and Dash, who have now been kicked to the side by Lord and the Devil Dogs. He adds them to his revenge plan, and then goes after Feldman, who he forces to set up a meeting with Mr. V. On getting there, the place is packed with Devil Dogs gangsters, but Hong beats all of them one by one before coming face to face with Lord. It's finally time for that rematch, and safe to say it's an absolute slugfest. The two men get themselves all bloody, but Hong wins the fight, and that's when Mr. V comes out with Rosanna as his hostage. At this point, Dash, the landlord, and some other gangsters on Hong's side come out waving guns as well. Mr. V asks for his money, but Hong claims that he'll only get it if he agrees to leave St. Jude and never return. Pissed, Mr. V shoots the landlord and a shootout ensues. It all ends when Rosanna shoots Mr. V, killing him on the spot, and the movie ends with Hong standing in a circle of corpses as both sides mourn their losses. That's it for this recap, guys, but I gotta ask, do you think Mr. V's death would be enough to save the city, St. Jude? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.